Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wealth Wednesday show. This is another time where we get to interact and have a discussion on matters of money and business management. We are so honored and grateful for you having to join us tonight. Thank you so much for taking your time to be with us as we are going to discuss on advancing your 2021 investment strategy. We can all agree that 2020 has been a roller coaster for most people, but that should not limit you from creating or learning how to create an investment strategy for 2021. In as much as 2020 has been a roller coaster, it has also created various investment opportunity that if we take advantage of them in 2021, we are going to see the fruits very soon. So with that said, I would like to encourage you to keep on subscribing to our channel. Click the subscribe button, turn on notification, as well as share the link with your friends so that they can all get to learn on matters of business and money management. So tonight we are so honored to have our guest, Dr. Frimpong, all the way from Ghana. He has been at the forefront of creating financial literacy awareness across sub-Saharan Africa as well as other countries. His work has been featured locally and internationally, including the United Nations. And tonight we are grateful to have him in the show to share with us on how you can create an investment strategy that is going to put you a step ahead in your investment journey. So without taking much time, allow me to give Dr. Frimpong the platform for him to introduce himself to us and tell us a little bit about himself. Dr. Frimpong, feel welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So my name is Richmond Frimpong. I'm from Ghana, and the Executive Director of Financial Literacy Africa. Our mandate is basically to end extreme poverty, achieving SDG 1 of the Sustainable Development Goals across sub-Saharan Africa by 2030. So we are looking forward to making sure that out of every 10 Africans we pick by 2030, we should have 8 of them who are financially independent. And we are driving this through financial literacy. So that has been our mandate all this while. With the emergence of the coronavirus global pandemic, we introduced a program called the Financial Literacy for Coronavirus Poverty-Induced Alleviation. And our job has been to help as many MSMEs as possible to navigate their way through this financial quagmire and how they can come out of it and even prepare for the future of business. So basically in 46 countries we are represented, and we have a little over 3,000 plus talents who are helping us across provinces, across regional capitals of African countries to make sure that through financial literacy, we kick out poverty. Thank you.
Wow, that is such a profound introduction. I really like what you are doing, especially the goal of at least having out of 10, we have 8 people who are financially literate and aware on how they can manage their finances, especially in Africa. Keep up the great job. And without taking much time, we shall go right away into the topic of the day and so that you can share with us more about investment. As I have seen, that is your area of expertise. So, Dr. Frimpong, what is, maybe you could tell us what is an investment for a layman person who is watching us? What would you say is an investment? And what is the investment process?
Right. So thank you. When we say investment, we are simply talking about putting your money into any enterprise, be it a business or be it in financial instruments, with the aim of making some returns over a period. So simply that is investment. When you part away money or an asset into any enterprise with the aim of making sure that you return some good gains on it. Now, in the financial services world, when we say investment, it's simply putting your money away to work for you. So when you put your money into any financial instrument or any security, you are simply letting your money go, put on clothes, working gear to just go work for you. So that the same way you work for money, your money can work also for you. So that at the end of a certain period agreed and signed off, you can receive some income the same way you receive income at the end of the period when you work. So investment is, in a nutshell, letting your money work for you, either in an enterprise or in a financial instrument.
Oh, nice. I like the fact that you've said it's like you dress the money the way we dress up every morning to go to work. Now, when you are investing, you are commanding your money to work for you. You're telling it, hey, buddy, the alarm is on, you need to go to work. How about the investment process? Maybe you could just highlight something on that.
Well, so I'm going to be talking about the investment process from the point of view of an institution
Mm-hmm.
and an individual, because I probably anticipating that there are other people who are watching us and they would want to pick a point or two for investment strategy going into the new year. Now, investment strategy as a concept basically goes through 5 different processes, and it applies the same way to a corporate, to an individual as well. Now, because I define investment to mean parting away an asset or money or anything that goes to work for an expected return, before you go on to the investment management process, you must make sure that that objective for which you are investing is guiding your investment process. And the number one point I put down is setting your investment objective. So, first and foremost, in the 5 point process, you must always be clear about the objective for which you are taking that investment journey. Number two, you must establish an investment policy. So, the policy is basically like the guiding tenets that will advise, or that will direct you as to why you put the money in this particular asset or in this particular instrument and not the other. So, one, you determine your objective, set it. Two, you put together an investment policy that guides and sets the direction. Three, you select what we call a portfolio strategy. So in going into an investment process, you don't put, we always say, you don't put your eggs in one basket. And in investment, when we say portfolio, we are talking about a combination of more than 2 different classes of investment assets. And so when you put more than 2 together, it becomes a portfolio. So after you set up your objective and you move to the second point of establishing an investment policy, the next thing you do is to select a portfolio strategy. So that portfolio strategy, that I'll probably talk about in as I go along, would also aim at making sure that all the asset classes or the investment components you are putting together are coming up with the same return direction, so that you make the best of all. Then the fourth thing is to select the specific assets. So if it's an enterprise, select the specific area you want to put your investment into. If it's in financial instruments, what specific assets are you going to put your money into? Are they stocks? Are they fixed income? Are they bonds? Are they just ordinary deposit accounts or certificates of deposit? You must select the specific assets. And then finally, you measure and evaluate the portfolio. So if you go through this 5-term process, that becomes your guiding investment process that helps you to maximize your return. But let me end by saying on this process, know that the point about selecting the asset and evaluating and measuring is continuous. It doesn't stop. And those last 2 points, when you keep doing them, measuring and evaluating, they determine the top 4. They determine what kind of objective you rearrange. They determine the investment policy you review. They determine the portfolio strategy you review. But ultimately, you set your investment objective, you establish your investment policy, you select your portfolio strategy, you select the specific assets that go into the portfolio, and then you measure and evaluate to just make sure you're on the right track. So this is the investment management process that can guide anybody who would want to take an investment decision, be it an individual or a corporate body.
Wow, I really like the 5 steps that you've given, which are super correct because that is exactly what we give to our clients at Financial Wellness Center. There has to be a process you follow so that you do not just find yourself jumping here today, tomorrow you are there, then all of a sudden you feel like you're overwhelmed. You need to have a process. I can see we have Benjamin Nathan. He's saying, great, I'm watching from Ghana. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for tuning in. We are really grateful for your support, and we hope you're going to learn from tonight's show. So, Dr. Frimpong, what do you think? Is there a difference between investing and saving? Because we have seen a lot of people mixing up the terms saving and investing. You ask someone, are you investing? And they're like, yes, I've been saving money. So they are like really confused between saving and investing. Maybe you could help us understand the difference between these two as well as give us some example. Kindly unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay, let me break it down to the ordinary person's level.
Mm-hmm.
When you say savings, it is an accumulation of funds.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say investments, it is an aggregation of those funds to return a profit or otherwise. That is simply to say that anytime you put your money to savings, it is the crutch, the doorway, the basic level of beginning the journey to investing, but it is not investment. When you save, you accumulate funds that can be used for the purpose of a strategic investment, going into the process I said. Now, when you save, you keep your money safe. When you save, SAVE, you keep your money safe, SAFE. But when you invest, you don't just keep it safe, you make it double in terms of value, and you preserve the value of your savings from the effects of the number one enemy of money's value, which is inflation. The
Inflation, yeah.
example is, anytime you save, you are holding your money and you are ring fencing the money from just being expended. So when you save it in an account or in a box or anywhere, you help yourself not to just spend it anyhow, but you still have access to that money. Now, the rate of interest on holding that money is between 0 to 5% globally. The rate of interest on putting that money in a savings account, as in whatever return you are going to make, is averaging 0 to a maximum of 5 globally. So if you put $1 in any account, that is a savings account, you are going to get between 0 to 5% as return. Now, if you put your money into investments, you are going to be making far above whatever savings is promising in terms of return. So when you just limit your ability to put money aside only on savings, what you do is that you keep it safe, but you don't keep its value safe. So anytime inflation, which eats away the value of your money, goes into double digits, and it always does, particularly in some parts of developing economies like Africa and co., you will notice that inflation is ahead of the returns you make on savings. So I have $1 somewhere, I add another dollar, that is $2. The rate of inflation may be, say, 10%, and I'm saying the maximum return on savings may be 5. So if you limit yourself to savings, your $2 will return 5%, but inflation is already 10%. And so the value of the $2 is minus 5 if I add the return of 5 on the 10. What that means is that if the $2 could buy one bottle of ice cream, because inflation is ahead of the return on savings, over a period, the same $2 will not be able to buy the same quantity of goods it could buy the previous duration. But when you invest, you preserve it and you get return for value way in advance of inflation. So when you invest, your money works to build additional income. But when you save, your money is just kept for safety. Safety from loss, safety from theft, and safety from just exposure. That is the major differences between savings and investment.
Wow, that was so profound, Doctor. I must say that I believe our audience has been able to differentiate between investing and saving, whereby when you are investing, you are keeping your money safe as well as increasing its value. While on the other hand, when you are just saving, you're keeping the money safe but not adding value to it. And I can agree with you, inflation has been a problem, not just in Africa, but globally. We've seen quite a number of people who, at some point, they put their money in savings account, but within 10 years, that same amount of money cannot purchase a certain amount of goods, and they were complaining. So to be smart for 2021, you'd rather invest more than just saving. So with that said, we go to the backbone of tonight's topic. What are the best investment strategies for 2021, both for those people who are beginning to invest or for those who are already investing? As an expert, what strategy would you tell us to consider?
Right. Thank you once again. I want to share with anybody watching three critical strategies you can explore and apply, either again as a corporate or as an individual. The principles are the same. Now, remember, we have already shared the process. The process of investment must be the foundation to any investment strategy, because the process establishes the advantage of that strategy that you apply to your investment. And so if you met the 5-step process, recap that and recount that as the basis for this strategy. Now, there are a number of strategies you can apply, but with the wisdom of 2020 and how things have been, it will be important to apply any of these almost at the same time, depending on what your investment process is going through. That is why I said that the last portion of your investment process, which is measuring and evaluating, is critical, because that determines the strategy you adapt at any time. And so just get the strategies, but your measuring and evaluation will tell which one you apply at what time, depending on what is happening globally or even personally. The first investment strategy is what we call the buffer portfolio strategy. The buffer portfolio strategy. The next one is what we call the dumbbell strategy. The dumbbell strategy. And then the last one is the ladder of maturity strategy. The ladder of maturity strategy. Now, when we talk about the buffer portfolio strategy, we are simply saying that you look at majority of your investments going into short-term instruments. Now, in investment, when we say short-term, we are talking about investment products that mature maximum in a year and a half or less. Some of them can go into 2 years, but ideally it's a year and a year and below. So anything that matures in a year or less, maximum could go between maybe a year and a half, worst instance maybe 2 years. But in the buffer portfolio strategy, you put a bigger chunk of your investment into instruments that mature in the short term. So then you have liquidity. Remember, in this period where the pandemic has made finances a bit difficult to predict, you notice that it is not about the investment you hold. It's about the investment that has a great sense of liquidity. So you can quickly convert from its asset state into cash or into whatever you need it to do. And so you notice that the number of people who had money but had locked them in very long-term instruments and they didn't have anything that they could convert immediately, would one either sell off quickly, cheaply, and lose out, or would have to probably borrow today against whatever investment they have had. So going into 2020, take a cue from what has happened, that there can be market disruptions that can make nonsense of all your fiscal investment. And so the buffer strategy is saying that do well to make sure that in as much as you are putting some investments according to your objective that may be long-term, do well to put a significant amount that can cover emergencies, that can cover significant opportunities that come up, so you can assess it in a quick, matured duration. That is the buffer strategy. The dumbbell strategy is simply talking about when you now divide your investment into the two extreme poles. That is a dumbbell, two extreme poles. So you divide your investment into two. You put one in short term, you put another in long term. You don't stand in the middle. So we call that dumbbell because then the shape is like that. And so there's one here, there's one there. In this strategy, you are considering not just the buffer that says consider almost everything in the short term, but this one you split almost into 60-40 or 50-50, one in short term and one in extreme long term, so that you maximize the best of both. Then the third strategy you can do is what we call the ladder of maturities. The ladder of maturities. And here you look at just the maturing term, the maturing duration, and you build up from short through to middle up to long term. So the short ones mature over a short period. You pull them, move them, and graduate them into the medium. You pull them also when they mature, graduate them into the long term. So then it is a ladder, it's a graduation from one step to the other. Going into 2020, any of these three critical investment strategies can be applied, but they are not applied independent of the investment process. When you establish your investment process, that captures an item like investment objective. So, for example, my objective is that by the end of 2021, I want to raise $1 million US. That becomes your objective, and that objective determines your duration of a year. Based on this objective going into your investment process, you may want to consider the buffer portfolio strategy because that supports your short-term objective. So based on your investment process, then you choose which strategy that suits that investment objective. Another person who will say, well, I would want to buy a property in Dubai in the next 5 years, and you have envisaged the cost of that property. You will notice that maybe based on your income, you will not be able to make this investment objective real in 12 months. And so for you, you don't put your investment into the buffer portfolio strategy, which is short term. Why? Because your objective is both short and long. So such a person will have to apply the dumbbell. So you put a little to have access to liquidity in the short, and then you put a majority into the long because of your investment process and investment objective. So any of these specific investment objectives will determine, as I said in the process, which strategy you adapt. And the last example is another person who has a family, who has been working as a middle manager, who is in the middle to upper class, and he has one goal for the short term to say, pay the child's school fees in the next 2 months, and another in the medium term to say, take a second degree in another school in the next 1.5 years, and then another in the very long term to say, buy some acres of property in maybe US. That is, say, maybe the next 5 years. For such a person, you will notice that you go across the 3 different timeline cycles of investment. And so then you apply both the buffer, the dumbbell, and the ladder strategy in terms of what investment process you adapt. And when you apply any of these, it works to your benefits. Thank you.
Wow, that was so great, Dr. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but as I'm saying that that was so great, Doctor, and I believe that most of our audience have come to learn on what kind of strategy is going to work for them, as well as organizations that are watching us right now. They are able to know what kind of strategy is going to work for them come 2021 based on their objective. I like the fact that you are able to break it down and attach every objective, whether long term or short term, to a specific strategy, as this is where most people make mistake, because you find someone using a long-term strategy with an objective of a short-term strategy. So you find there's the conflict between the strategy applied and the objective the person is needing. But I believe you, by watching this video, by attending this show, they will be able to analyze and know what objective I am working towards and what kind of strategy I will be using. So, with that said, do we have stages in investing? Can we say that I'm at stage 1 in investing, or I'm at stage 5? Do we have such kind of thing?
Yes, there are a couple of stages in investing, and
Okay.
maybe let me see. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Let me. You
Okay.
wanna share a screen?
No, that's fine.
Oh.
Because of time, I'll probably go
Mhm.
through just about 5
Mm,
stages.
mm,
Now, you need to understand the stage you find yourself
mm,
so that you will know how to manage your investment process and your investment strategy. Because from where we began, defining
mm,
investment, to talking about the investment process, to talking about investment strategy. And now we are talking about the types or the stages of investing.
mm,
Each one of them is a build up on the other, and you lay them as blocks for your
mm,
financial wellness and your financial future. Now, the first level or the first stage is called put and take, kind of stage. So in the put and take stage, you are talking about somebody who just started earning income. He's probably the first job and he's never earned income before, and he has now started some work that gives him regular income. For such a person, he has never attempted any investment before, unless maybe he was fortunate to have come from a home where the parents or the family had some account in investment for them. And I'm talking about the ordinary person who just started work and he's now earning income. For such a person, he is now beginning to even open a regular account where he can drop the incomes he is earning into that account so that at any time he can have access to them. That is the first stage when a person begins the journey to investment and he just begins to accumulate in a regular account. So the account you open must be an account that you can go in and out at any time t, because you are learning the rudiments of investment. That is the first stage, and I call it a put and take. So you drop, you withdraw, you drop, you withdraw. It's like learning how to walk, the same cycle. The next one is beginning to invest stage. So now from just put and take, you are beginning to leave a certain chunk of your investment over some time. So you notice that maybe for about 91 days, for about 6 months, you have not touched some portion of the money you used to have that you were going in at regular intervals. That should tell you that you have moved from the early stage of just put and take to now the beginning to invest, where now you are even denying yourself of regular withdrawals or regular check-ins or regular cash-ins. Now, when you get into this stage, you are beginning to invest. And so you don't keep your money in a regular checking account. You put your money into an investment account that denies you withdrawal for, say, 91 days, for, say, 60 days, but at the same time pays you a bigger return than the level where you just put in and take, where there is no return. So the first level, you put in and take a regular savings account or checking account. Then you move to a level where now you notice that you are not just withdrawing almost every now and then. Some funds are kept untouched for a duration. You are entering into the beginning to invest stage. And so you must switch quickly from a regular checking account into a short-term account that you can withdraw at least in 91 days, in 60 days, but at the same time can pay you some return. From there, you enter into the level I call the systematic investment stage. Here, you deliberately build a regular and planned deposit lifestyle. So you now put in place direct debit systems that take particular amounts of money from your income and move them into a particular account for yourself. So that is the third level. Now, every month you say, when you are paying my salary, put say 20% into this account, put say 10% into this account. So you notice that you're on the level three. They'll put and take, the beginning to invest, and now into the middle term, where now you deliberately have a regular and a planned deposit system for yourself. That one, you move into a medium term account in terms of the investment account you want to have. That will pay you a little bit more, and you don't touch, because deliberately you are putting a regular amount over a period of time into that account. From there, you go into the strategic investment stage. The strategic investing is the point where you begin to put together a portfolio. So you have bought a little of this. Maybe you bought some fixed deposits. Now you are buying some mutual funds. Now you are buying some equities and stocks from the stock exchange. It is becoming a portfolio, and you are taking some responsibility. Just that you are not a professional, you are not an expert. And so you have left a lot of things to maybe an investment advisor, or maybe to your banker, your personal banker. But at least you are building multiple sources of investment asset classes. That is the fourth level. And then that is a strategic investing level. And then the last one is what I call the speculative investing stage. At this stage, you have acquired a lot of knowledge from people like the Financial Wellness Center. You have acquired a lot of knowledge through programs like this, the Wednesday evening program like this, and you appreciate stocks. You appreciate fixed term deposit. You appreciate bonds. You appreciate the workings of the financial markets. You are able to interpret a thing or two. You are applying the investment strategy yourself. You are going through the investment process yourself. When you get here, you take a little more risk, and you decide to put in your own speculative indices and say that I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that, and I'll be watching it regularly. That is the highest level, when you become so active and so regular. So you move from the put and take crawl, just started earning income, keep money somewhere small, and then as and when you take it back. You move from there to beginning to invest. Now you notice you really don't take this portion of your money. It is just there. So you are graduating that amount into a short-term account to earn you something. You move from there to the systematic investing, where now you say deduct this amount every this period. So regular planned duration basics in terms of deduction. You move from there, strategic investing, putting together portfolios, buying this, buying that, with the guidance of a specialist, with the guidance of an investment advisor. And then the highest space, where you now take some more risk and you become speculative, and then you risk a little bit more and take the decision of investing into your own hands. Thank you.
Wow, I hope our viewers will be able to move from stage one to the last stage, whereby they can become more independent, as that is one of the goal in Financial Wellness Center. We want to empower our members and audience, not just to remain in stage one all the time. You need to show some progress. If you are in stage one in 2019, by 2021, you need to have moved to the second stage of maybe not just put and take, you need to have progressed at least to another stage. And I really like the fact that you've broken down every stage that one might find themselves in, and the conditional characteristic, because I've seen a lot of people, they want to be in the last stage of taking more risk, while they do not have any information, they don't know anything about the investment they want to take, but they are overconfident. Then they later on come and say, this investment is a scam, or I've lost so much money, just because they did not know which stage they are in. So they just decided to know, let me do it. And to our audience, you can see Benjamin, you're saying very insightful differentiation uh, between very insightful differentiation between saving and investing. Yes, I like the differentiation that Doctor gave us. And I would like to encourage anyone who is watching us, feel free to ask any question as we are about to come to the conclusion of this show. So if you have any question regarding investing, creating an investment strategy, either as a company or as an individual, this is the time you need to start typing and writing up to us so that Dr. Frimpong can help to address it, as well as if you have any feedback that you need us to know, just feel free to share with us, as we shall be excited or super happy to hear from you. So as we wind up the show, Doctor, what are the types of investors? We've spoken about what investing is. We've differentiated between investing and saving. We've also touched based on the strategies that are gonna work for 2021, hopefully, as well as we've discussed on the stages of investing. So help us understand types of investors that we have when it comes to matters of investing.
Right. So there are three major types of investors, and I'll make it very simple. The first we call the pre-investor. So the pre-investor basically is someone who is, as we are speaking, doesn't have an investment account at all. Even if he has, he doesn't know it's an investment account. He never thinks about putting any money aside into any instrument. If he will probably do anything, is because somebody said he should do something and he does it. He doesn't understand with no knowledge, and he's just there. He's now appreciating that savings is just holding your money and it is at rate zero. And now investing is going to give you more. That is the pre-investor. The next type of investor is the passive investor. This person has had some investment education with time from school, from the television. He's heard the difference between treasury bills and shares and things like that. But he has never taken any effort himself to be involved in investment decision. So he leaves everything to the bank. He leaves everything to the insurance house. He leaves everything to the mutual fund manager. He just believes that whatever they are doing is okay. Whatever interest they will give them is okay. They don't even check what they have. They don't analyze. They don't ask questions. They are just there and they are passive. The third group is the active investor. They are running their wealth like a business. And so they take statements, they look at them, they question them, they get their investment advisors and ask them why the market is falling. They decide that I want to move my value from this amount to that amount. They are actively running their wealth like a business. And they have set up caps and targets for themselves. And they want to partake in the market capitalizations, in the market volume trades, in the market turnovers. They are looking at the high global investors like the Warren Buffett and co. And they are looking at how the stocks of Uber, how the stocks of Zoom, how the stocks of Microsoft are doing daily. They are not just buying iPhone 12 Pro, but they are buying the shares of iPhone 12. They are not just opening a Facebook account, but they are buying the shares of Facebook. They are not just buying a pair of Nike, but they are buying the shares of Nike. That is the active investor. And they are fighting aggressively to be in the league of those who are worthy. So you choose. It is an input and output situation. If you are a pre-investor, the good thing is that when you know, you can move straight from pre-investor to an active investor where you begin to take decisions. If you have also moved from being a pre-investor who knows nothing and didn't do anything into being a passive investor, one of the critical sins of finance you can make is to be passive. When you are passive, you are allowing your financial destiny to be dictated by circumstances and happenstance. You cannot be passive about your future. Why? Because salary alone and wages alone, maximum at best, will make you a wage slave. And if you stay at the level of a wage slave where you only survive when you earn income, but you don't build a multiple stream of income through portfolio investment and things like this, you will notice that it doesn't matter how much you earn. It doesn't matter which part of the world you stay. It doesn't matter the kind of certificate you have in academics, you will still be a great candidate for poverty. And you would always be waiting at the end of every month.
I think we have lost him. Let's hope that he will be able to join us once again. I'm not sure why we just lost him towards the end, but as we wait for him to join us once again, I would like to ask you, what type of investor are you, based on what our guest speaker has already shared? What type of investor would you say you are? Please share with us in the comment as we try to reconnect back with our guest. Yeah, I believe he will be able to join us once again in a short while. But as we keep on waiting for him to join us, I would like to know from your side, what kind of an investor do you think you are? Are you the pre-investor, or are you the active investor, or you just in between there? Based on what you've learned tonight, what do you say that, okay, Sheila, I'm this type of investor, or okay, I've learned that I need to look at my investing come 2021. So as we continue to think about, as you continue to share with us, please write up your question. If you have any question, just write it up right now. If you have any comment, feel free to share, and keep on following us on Instagram. To those that have already followed us, thank you so much. If you haven't, please ensure you check us out on Instagram by checking at Financial Wellness Center, so that you can be able to follow us, and we shall be following you back right away. To those that haven't liked our Facebook page, rush there and like us up so that you can stay updated with every information we put out there, as well as if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please press the subscribe button and turn on notification so that you can stay in touch with us. So with that said, I'm not sure why we're not able to see our guest again, but I'm trying to reconnect with him. I see Benjamin, you're saying I'm an active investor with a question mark. So it seems like you're not sure, like, Sheila, am I an active investor? But I believe maybe you are an active investor because you are also in the finance world. So oh, I'm not sure what happened, but our guest had come, but again he disappeared. Let's hope he'll come again. So, as Benjamin, you're saying you are an active investor. I'm not sure if that's a question or a comment, but I believe you are an active investor because you are in this finance field, and I believe you can agree with Dr. Frimpong on what he has said. As an active investor, you are always checking, you are always trying to find out what is happening in the stock market or in the investment that you are taking up. So, Dr. Frimpong, apologies for having to lose you in the middle of your conversation. I believe you can wind us up right now.
So ultimately, we were saying that the choice is in your hands. You can decide to be a pre-investor, a passive investor, or an active investor. A pre-investor didn't know. Now he knows through this session. A passive investor had an account 5 years ago. He hasn't bothered to check. Somebody asked him to do it. He has never topped up. He has never checked how well it is doing. But every month there's some deduction going somewhere. He just believes that it will work. That's the passive investor. The active is managing his wealth like a business. He's taken himself through the process we shared. He's taken himself through all the details of the strategy he needs to apply. He's understanding the investment world for himself, and he's asking questions every day, making sure his money is at the right place, the people managing are rightly regulated, the crashes and the up and down turns of the market is leveraging on them, and he is not leaving anything to chance. If you decide to be an active investor, it doesn't matter which part of the world you are. It doesn't matter which level of the academic ladder you are. It doesn't matter how much you earn. In becoming financially independent has very little to do with how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and invest. And so decide to be an active investor, and you'll be amazed that you'll be in a tiny village somewhere in Africa or somewhere in Asia. But as you apply these things we have shared, you move from nothing to abundance. Thank you.
Wow, that was super amazing. And I totally agree with you. It's not how much you earn, but how much you keep and invest. Don't just stop at keeping, because I've seen a lot of people, they keep money. You ask someone, they're like, yeah, I have a lot of money, but they don't consider the aspect of inflation. So you might just be keeping the money, but it is not growing, you're not adding value on it. So it's very important for us to learn the art of multiplying money, and multiplication of money can happen through investing. So I see Benjamin has really been active with us, and thank you so much for being active with us, Benjamin. We greatly appreciate your support. He's saying, will you advise? Sorry. He's saying, will you advise an investor at the age of 55 to still hold his portfolio of stocks, especially when the returns on his investment has taken a nosedive? I believe that's a question to you, Dr. Frimpong.
Right. So it depends. Always remember the investment process you run through. The first point on the process is objective. The person can be 55, but his objective is not to earn retirement income from that stock. His objective may be to keep this somewhere for his grandchild's children. And so then that still remains a long-term objective. And so even if the market is tumbling and is heading south, that person at that time, despite his age, will still want to hold on to the stocks if the fundamentals of the company are still right. And rather than moving out of the market and panic out of that market, he would rather buy more as the market is going down, so that he earns more shares now on his number of shares already. So that when the market goes up, he will now earn more on the shares. So when the market is going up, you earn more on the shares. But when the market is going down, you earn more off the shares if you buy more. So it's always about objective. If on the other side, his objective is to earn retirement income, for which reason he bought the stocks, then at 55, you barely have a few years to retire. You must gradually exit stocks which are very high in risk into medium term to short term, so that you can have liquidity and you can access it anytime you want. So investment objective is number one reason. You don't just take a decision because of your age. The investment objective, the investment process of measuring and evaluating will tell what you do.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. The objective is very, very important to consider, regardless of the age, because you might find that the objective of the person does not really affect their current portfolio. But as well, I saw during the pandemic, when the pandemic just started, we saw a lot of people, especially in that age bracket, they were selling off their shares. And what happened is the younger ones, without those who did not know what the objective of investing was, they also started throwing off their shares. And you ask someone, why did you sell? And they will tell you, like, I saw my grandparents or my aged parents selling off their shares. So I said, why not? So you find that the person did not consider their objective. So if you do not invest with an objective, trust me, you will be a victim of just doing everything when everyone is doing it. But again, when you have example, watched this live show and you've learned on how you can become an objective investor. Such kind of pandemics, they open up opportunities for you to buy and sell at a very good price. And another question I see, Kay Tyru, thank you so much for joining in. I believe it's a she or a he. She's saying, I'm an active investor. Wow, that is so good. We encourage you to stay on tabs and keep on empowering yourself. And I see again, Benjamin has another question. What are the critical tasks to undertake to become an active investor?
To become an active investor, it's a decision you just have to make. But when you make that decision, it comes with a responsibility. An active investor is interested in making financial independence a deliberate goal. You are active and you are deliberately saying that by this time, within this duration, this is how much I want to be worth. So then you become active and make financial independence a goal. Now, when you do that, the next thing you do is to now be interested in the investment process that will take you to that journey. You become consistent, you update and upgrade and keep learning, keep your eyes on the goal, never stop, and understand the rubrics of investing. And you will be amazed that you may not have a license certificate as an investment advisor, but an active investor is an always learning investment person, always learning, always asking, always inquiring, always checking. That is what it takes to be an active investor. You sacrifice, you become consistent, and you keep your eyes on the goal. That's it. And you get there. Join people like the Financial Wellness Center, inquire about some of these meetings, get to know their schedules, befriend them on social media handles, follow them, ask questions. They are all for free. And you become an active investor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frimpong. That was so profound. I really appreciate that. Now, as we wind up to our audience, if you have any question, this is the time to write us up, as well as if you have any feedback, we'll be more than happy to hear from you. So, Doctor, would you just share with us your conclusion, as well as your social media accounts, in case anyone would want to reach out to you or just stay connected with you? Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I will say in ending that the real best time we should have taken this investment conversation a little bit more serious was 20 years ago. That was the real best time. Because in 20 years ago, if you deliberately decided to put $1 a day down anywhere in the world, in any of the stock exchanges, as I'm speaking now, averagely, you would have been making $1 million. That time is gone. You are still spending the dollar a day on other things anyway. So with or without your decision, your expense hasn't changed. Now, you choose to spend on things that will bring you money, or you choose to spend on things that will take money away from your pocket. That is your decision. But at the end of the day, you don't have control over who you become financially. So I will urge you not just to be excited about our conversation, but to take a deliberate decision to become financially independent. Number two, right after this meeting, find out from the Financial Wellness Center how you can become a part of them in anything they do, because your association determines your accomplishment. And so when you associate with them, you become like them. And then lastly, don't let your daily routine determine otherwise. Why? Because your daily routine determines your future return. Your daily routine determines your future return. So let the things you do daily point to your future. You can learn more also from my social media handles. Just go to YouTube, Google Richmond Kwame Frimpong, and it will come. Richmond Kwame Frimpong, it will come. So many lessons on investment. Subscribe, and you will keep learning and becoming financially independent. Thank you.
Wow, I must say that That was so amazing, Dr. Frimpong, and I believe our audience has learned quite a number of things. Personally, I've also learned a lot of things from you, and I just like to encourage our audience. Please don't be excited with this live video. For me, I usually say success is when I see my follower, my client, putting into action the recommendations we give them, not just saying, okay, I liked your video, okay, I attended your classes, okay, I booked a consultancy session. I want to know, what did you do afterwards? You watched us, yes. You learned something, yes. What did you do? How are you going? What are the results? That is what we count as success at Financial Wellness Center. And Benjamin is still asking, what are the factors we look out for in companies when choosing their stocks to add to your portfolio of stocks to achieve your retirement objective?
A number of things. So Benjamin is talking about objective, and he's looking at objective, and he's looking at what guides you to choose, say, a stock for that company.
Mm,
I would say
mhm,
for start, even before you take an investment decision,
mhm,
be sure that the investment company has the regular requisite license to operate. So if it's an asset management company, maybe they are in the Securities and Exchange Commission in the country that regulates them. Be sure that they
mm,
have the license. Number two,
yeah.
check the duration they have been doing what they have been doing. For how long have they been doing it? And check their trend in terms of return over the period. How have they done in terms of the returns over the period? Check the people behind the organization who are the managers of the fund. Who and who are behind it, the board members,
Mm,
the management team, what their experience pack. When you buy the product, there is something we call scheme particulars. It is not just given until you ask for it. When you ask for the scheme particulars, everything hidden about the investment is there. The asset classes, the risk composition, a number of things. But ultimately, the same way you don't just go to the pharmacy to buy a drug without prescription, don't take an investment decision over the counter. When you do, the consequences of just buying a drug over the counter will apply to you. Just that this time it will be in finance. Thank you.
wow, that was so amazing, Dr. Frimpong. I think that is the last question we'll take in because of time, as well as I understand you have other engagements that you need to attend to. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our audience. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout this show. And to our honorable guest, Dr. Frimpong, I couldn't have learned much without you having to share with us. Kindly accept our sincere gratitude, and we hope we'll be able to host you once again in 2021, so that you can check on us if we put into action what we learned, as well as help us dive more into investing, and getting to learn more than just the strategy. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you once again for sharing with us the vast wisdom you have. I must say you are truly knowledgeable in this sector. So until then, to our audience, we'll see you next year. This is our last episode for 2020, but you can still subscribe and watch our previous episodes throughout the year, as well as other videos. And most of all, put into action and share it with your friends and family and everyone else. So until then, we'll see you next year 2021 for the Wealth Wednesday. We might be uploading videos here and there, but this is our last session. So bye, keep safe, and wear a mask. Bye.